Have you been here for a while? Just come over to sit down and rest or what? All right. I am Sergeant Tom Barton. I am the Division Diving Officer from down in Albany, New York headquarters. And this is the Underwater Recovery Team Dive Demonstration. Now, as you heard the announcer, they announced the scuba demonstration. Now, scuba is actually one piece of gear that we use on our underwater recovery team. Scuba actually isn't even a word, it's actually an acronym. Does anybody know what that stands for?
Yeah.
Self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. That is correct. Now, our team started back in 1932. We've been diving for 85 years. The State Police has the oldest and largest public safety dive team in the entire country. Now, back in 1932, we used surface applied air. Those big, heavy Mark V helmets, heavy canvas suits, those lead boots kind of clopped around on the bottom. We were tethered to the surface with our umbilical, our surface applied air umbilical. In 1942, somebody invented scuba. Does anybody know who that is? Jacques Cousteau, up there. Very good. Jacques Cousteau invented scuba in 1942. We adopted it to our program right around 1956. What that did is that freed us from that tethered umbilical, gave us a lot more freedom of motion, made our searches easier to do. And what we're going to do, before we introduce the stars of the show here, does any kids in the audience want to get a front row seat? Come on down. Right down front. Sit right by the tank. See the divers up close and personal? You can come right under there. Come right under the rope. There's no electricity in it. Try to get him to do that. He wouldn't do it. Right up here. Right about here. Have a seat.
That kid's going in the tank.
Sit down. Sit. Show the canine show. Sit. Sit. Stay.
This is not the canine show.
Right. Now, let's get going. Let's introduce the stars of the show. I direct your attention to the top of the tank. From Troop C, the team leader, down in the Binghamton area. Trooper Neil, the Ace Case. Next up, his much smaller counterpart from the Troop D area up in Pulaski, Trooper Josh Cross. And last but certainly not least, your hometown hero, the Troop D senior diver, Trooper Greg Ebro. All right. Now what we're going to do, we're going to hook Josh up here in some scuba gear to start off. Now Josh is one of our newest members. He came on the team about 2 years ago. He drew the short straw. He in first. Yeah, the short straw. All right. Well, what we're going to do, we're going to have a little fun with Josh. We're going to time him, see how long it takes him to get his gear on. Now, does anybody have a stopwatch on him? Or a cell phone that has a timer on it? Nobody? Do I have to use mine? You found one in a garage sale? Well, Mom wouldn't let you buy it. All right. Aha. All right, you ready? I'm going to time it myself this time. All right, you ready?
Ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. What's the problem?
You didn't press go yet, did you?
Nope.
You said he's one of the newest members on the team, so I was thinking we probably should make this a little harder on him. What do you guys think?
What do you got in mind?
I'm just going to throw it in and have him get pressed underwater. No,
Whatever you think. What do you think? All right, let's go. there you go. How long do you figure it's going to take him?
10 seconds.
10 seconds? Man, bar's pretty high. All right, you ready? All right, get him in there.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
What?
Seriously, we got 1,000 people here, and I'm the only one counting. Ready? Come on. 3, 2, 1, go!
Man, that was a big splash. All right. You better get going. That's it? That's all you got? 15 seconds. New state fair record. All right. Must be eating his Wheaties for lunch. Now, as you can see, Josh has got quite a bit of freedom of motion there. He's kind of swimming around in the tank for you there. What he's also going to show you is what any diver wants to accomplish, be it a recreational diver or a public safety diver like we are. That's called neutral buoyancy. That's either rising or falling in the water column. Now he has a weight belt on his waist that's going to take him to the bottom of that tank. He has a buoyancy compensator on his back. He can take air out of that tank, put some air in that BC, and that makes him float. The trick to it is to put just enough air in to float him off the bottom, but not all the way to the surface. Now, I mentioned that Josh came on the team 2 years ago. He's actually been diving for a long time. He's an open water certified instructor. He's got a lot of time in the water, as do Greg and Neil, are both instructors. So these guys have perfected a lot of the skills that they're going to show you here today that they make it look easy, and it's actually very difficult to learn how to do. Now we're going to add Neil to the mix. We're going to get him in the water. He's going to do an elevated entry for us. You see Josh get out of his way. He's pretty smart. The atomic elbow drop coming in. Those flashes just keep getting bigger, I'm telling you. Hope your clothes dry fast. All right. Now we train all of our own divers, right from non-divers up through open water certifications and into public safety dive training. It's an 8-week course. We have a week-long pre-selection process that we canvass and vet the possible candidates to go into our school. The school is modeled after the Navy Dive School, so it's not like a recreational training. It's very difficult to pass. There's a lot of PT and a lot of other things involved other than just learning how to dive. As a matter of fact, we have about a 40% washout rate in our school, meaning 4 out of every 10 students who start will be asked to leave. They will not be able to perform all the tasks that are asked of them. So these guys are going to show you some of the skills that we teach to the novice divers. The first 3 weeks, that's just their open water training. The first thing they're going to show is buddy breathing, or air sharing. If something should happen to one of their pieces of equipment, they're unable to get air out of it, they can go over to their partner, breathe off of his system until they can get out of trouble. The next thing they're going to show you is a simple mask clearing technique. They should lose their mask underwater if it should be knocked off or kicked off by another diver. They can put the mask back on their face. To get the water out, you'll see them pull the bottom of the mask away from their face. They'll exhale through their nose, and that air entering the mask will actually force the water right out of the bottom. They'll be able to continue with their dive. We teach all of our divers to fix any problem they can at the bottom. These guys dive up to 130 feet under the water. They can't always just go to the surface and fix any problem that they have. We've had divers that would actually sit right down on a rock, buddy breathe off their partner, and fix the regulator that they're using until they get it operational and then continue with their dive. Now Neil's going to perform another task we have our novice divers do. That's a ditch and don. A ditch and don is simply dropping your gear on the bottom ditch. He's going to go to the surface. He's going to take one breath. He's going to go back down. He's going to put his gear back on, or he's going to don it at the bottom. Now you notice he exhaled all the way to the surface. There's a reason for that. He's breathing compressed air out of that tank at the bottom. If he were to take a breath at the bottom of this 15-foot tank and hold his breath, swim to the surface, that air in his lungs would expand quite a bit. If he doesn't exhale all that extra air out, he has the potential of passing an air bubble from his lungs into his bloodstream, and he would embolize. That's one of the dangers of diving. And now he's down to the bottom. He'll get his gear back on. Now in the novice school, this is a timed event for the students. They have to perform it in a certain time period or they're asked to leave. Just one of many that they have to perform. There you go. All right. Well done. Ditching down. Now they're going to show you one other piece of equipment here that they use to transport under the water. This is our diver propulsion vehicle, or a DPV, also known as an underwater scooter. The guys would use these in the case that our search pattern is actually quite a ways offshore. They would grab one of these DPDs, they ride it out to the search pattern, flip it off to the line, they do their search pattern. When they get done, they grab the DPD, ride it back to the shore. It saves expending a lot of extra energy and using a lot of air unnecessarily. But like I said, we teach all of our own divers not only open water, but public safety dive training. That's what we do. We search for, locate, and recover items underwater. Now, recreational divers, they dive in water that looks like this, nice and crystal clear, like we have here in our tank, so that you can see the divers. They go down to the Caribbean where it's nice and warm. This is what our divers dive through. This is Mohawk River water. So while I'm explaining these search patterns and how we do this, keep this in mind. This is actually what these divers are swimming through. They do most of everything by feel, and we feel things before we actually see them. Now we're going to do a search, an evidence search here for you. We're going to look for a murder weapon. We got a knife up there to use, Josh? Let me see. What is that? That's not a knife. That's not going to cut it. Anybody catch that? All right, there's a knife. All right, let's get that in there. There's our murder weapon. Now there's a couple different ways we can search for this piece of evidence. We can take a line out with a weight at each end, stretch it out along the bottom of the lake. The diver would swim along that line and use that as a guide for a search pattern. He'd move the weight every time he reached it, kind of work his way along the bottom. In this case, we have a metal object, the knife. So Neil's going to use our metal detector. He's going to search the bottom of this tank for that knife. Now this is a piece of evidence. We're going to want to preserve any evidence that's on this knife. Now, what might be on the knife what might want to preserve? The blood, right? DNA. What else? Fingerprints. Very good. What do you got? What's the matter? Hi. You found it? You found the knife. Well, good. Nailed it. You kind of knew it was there, didn't you? All right. Now he's going to want to recover this knife in a certain way to preserve that evidence we talked about. Now he would be wearing gloves, but we're going to want to kind of keep from handling this evidence as much as possible. Neil. Hey, Neil. That's not a beer mug. No, it's not. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Yeah, he was using it last night, but now it's empty. 5:30. All right, so he's going to scoop up this evidence in a way that he doesn't have to touch it. He's going to seal it in this special container. It's made for underwater recovery. What else is going to be sealed in there with the knife? The water. Why do we leave that in there? What happens to metal objects when you take them out of the water? They rust. They rust very quickly. That rust would contaminate any evidence we have on that knife. So he will take the package up, the knife, the water, and everything, hand it over to our evidence technician at the top. That evidence technician would take it to the lab, and they'd process that knife, and they'd send us the container back later. All right. Good job. You've been in there for a while. You all right? How about a treat? Give you a little energy. All right? Good with that? What's the matter? You don't want the apple? You don't like apples? Everybody likes apples. You want? You want me to peel the apple? No. What's your... Oh, he wants a banana? I just happen to have a banana. It's like working with the animals at the zoo. Feeding the fish. All right. Now our team makeup, we have 65 divers assigned to the underwater recovery team spread out across the state on 8 different teams. There's a team leader assigned to each team that is full-time to administer and run that operations of that team. All the other divers that are assigned to those teams are on an on-call basis. They're assigned to patrol duties and administrative duties, but they're on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So when Christmas morning comes around, or Thanksgiving afternoon, they're sitting down at dinner with their birthdays and the phone rings, they show up and they get in the water. That's their job. Now, we had a name change this summer also. We were New York State Police Scuba. Like I mentioned, scuba is just one piece of equipment that we use. We actually have many other duties outside of underwater recovery. Why you gotta be like that? You know I signed your overtime, so it's right. There you go. That's more like it. I'll be watching. Our duties include swiftwater rescue. We do floodwater rescue and evacuations. We also support a lot of the other teams that are associated with special operations such as SORT, K-9, and BDU. When they have a mission that takes them over or on the water, they call us. We get them to the mission, help them complete it. So this summer we had an official name change to Underwater Recovery Team. In essence, that is the essence of our team, underwater recovery. So now we are URT. Now we're going to switch gears. We're going to locate and recover a little bit bigger item for you. We're going to use a little bit different equipment to do it. We've got a sunken ATV. We're going to call that our stolen ATV. As soon as Neil gets this into position, we're going to use surface supplied air to help lift this off the bottom. The diver's not going to be able to lift this and carry it up to the surface by himself. Get that thing started? Just 1 minute. Okay, turn the key. That's smart. All right. That's his favorite part of the show right there. It's all him. All right, we're going to use surface supplied air. Now you might say, well, that's where we started with back in 1932, right? Well, there are certain advantages to surface supplied air, and if you look at Greg Ebro while he gets dressed up there, the equipment that we have now is a little bit more technologically advanced. What surface supplied air affords us is the ability to send an unlimited amount of air down to the diver. Should he be doing the more dangerous work such as lifts or working under an overhead environment, if he should get caught down there, whatever he's lifting happens to land on him, pin him down there, if he should get snagged, we can keep sending air down to him until we can get somebody down there to help him get him out. It also affords us some head protection, some injury protection if something should fall back down and hit him in the head. He's got some protection from that helmet. The third thing is it gives us the ability of communication. We have a hardwired communication system within that helmet, so I can talk to him through this orange box. Now that's how he's breathing. These 2 scuba cylinders up here on this table, they're hooked to this orange box. They run through a regulator. It runs through the regulator and out the other side in that yellow hose. That is his umbilical. That umbilical runs all the way up to the top and hooks into his helmet. That's what he's breathing out of. Now Josh Cross is splashed, and he's going to locate this ATV for us. Now he has a piece of equipment on. It's called a full face regulator. Now this will be used in conjunction with our dry suits so that we can fully encapsulate the diver in the case of contaminated water. So we put him in that. When he comes out, he would come out completely dry, and that polluted water would not touch his skin. He's also got a piece of equipment in his hand you might think is a flashlight. That's actually an underwater handheld sonar device. That device emits a signal out through the water. It hits off of anything that's out there. In this case, it's going to hit off of our target. That sound signal will come back. It will register in his headset. He'll hear that tone, and he'll swim right toward that target. Keep in mind that water he's swimming through, right? He's not going to be able to see a thing. So, in fact, boom. That's usually the way we find things right there. Now he's going to secure that sonar. He's going to deploy a Pelican marker device. This is something the diver carries so that when we're looking for something, when they find it, they can mark it. He's going to attach one end to the ATV. He's going to send the floating end to the surface. That way we can find it again without having to search for it. In this case, Greg is going to use that as a marker for where he has to go. He's going to follow that marker down until he finds Josh and the ATV. He's going to help him lift it. Diver ready?
I was ready, Bob.
Out of the water.
All right.
We got Greg in the water. Neil becomes his tender. He's going to lower him slowly down to the bottom by the use of his umbilical. You notice Greg's not wearing fins. That would be the usual case in the use of surface wide air in this case. The fins would just get in the way, have a potential of getting caught on things. He also took that. Those guys drive through my show every day. It looks like a blast. Yeah, I am ready to go. All right, he also had 2 lift bags in his hand. One has 50 pounds of lift, the other has 60 pounds of lift when they're full of air. This ATV weighs between 80 and 90 pounds. So when these 2 lift bags are filled with air, they should overcome the weight of that ATV and send it to the surface. Now we have to get water down, or air down to the divers to put in the lift bags. Normally they would take down a separate air source. You don't want to ever use the breathing gas to fill the airbags. In this case, we're going to cheat a little bit. There's also a black hose within this umbilical that I could actually send air down through. It's called a pneumo hose. We're going to do that now. You ready? You can see the air bubble out the end of that black hose. You'll use that to fill the lift bags. I think those guys were on that last trip. All right, now he's going to want to lift these as evenly as possible to make this ATV go up through the water column evenly. Keep in mind, this is also a piece of evidence, so we're going to want to preserve it best we can. She's got the back started up. Going to put a little bit more in the front. And up, up, and away it goes. All right, there's the lift. Actually work. Yep. All right, now this technique would be used in just about any heavy item that we're lifting. We might lift a safe or a car or a boat. We could have a train down there for all we care. We just keep taking down different equipment. Lift bags come in different sizes, 500, 1,000, 2,000. 2,000 is not enough. We just take down a series of them until we overcome the weight of that object and it goes to the surface. It's just that simple. All right, Greg's got one more trick up his sleeve. Direct your attention to the tank. He's going to fill this. He's going to fill this beach ball from the bottom of our brand new tank that was specially designed and built for us here at the State Police exhibit this year. This tank holds just shy of 9,000 gallons of water. It's about 5 times bigger than our portable tank that we had for the last 25 years or so. Here we go. It's exciting. All right, nice job. Best show ever. Somebody can take that. All right. All right. Now I'm going to speak for the divers, but I'm going to actually speak for everybody here at Special Operations. Obviously, we like to have fun out here while we're here at the fair. We try to entertain you and make it fun for you guys. These guys are in the field and they do their job. It's a serious business. It's a dangerous job. I hope you guys realize that. And these guys go where nobody else can or will, and where nobody else wants to. So I'd like to give them a round of applause and appreciation for the hard work that they do all year round. All right. Okay. You guys want to play some tic-tac-toe with the divers? Raise your hand if you do. Nobody? Nobody at all? All right. We're done. We'll play some tic-tac-toe. So there's a pen over here at the end. Why don't you guys line up? Single file, no running, no grouping up.
Grab that beach.
Go ahead, step right up.
Mason, grab it.
All right. Folks, thanks very much for your attention. Before you leave the grounds, we have our 100th year celebration, 100th year history of the state police in this building over here. We have displays in the log cabin. Please check out our interactive displays, the boats, the trucks, the cars, ATVs, snowmobiles. Our sword repelling demonstration comes up at 8 o'clock, so stick around for that and have a great night at the fair. Thank you.